The peaceful skies over Mount Pozu were shattered by an unnatural storm, dark clouds swirling with ominous energy. Below, Goku stood with his son Gohan, their senses sharpened by the unmistakable presence of danger. The air crackled with malice as a figure descended from the heavens, his crimson eyes burning with hatred. "Frieza," Goku muttered, his fists clenching. But this wasn't the Frieza they had defeated years ago. His aura was darker, his power immeasurably greater. "You're supposed to be dead," Gohan said, stepping forward, his muscles tensing. Frieza's lips curled into a smirk. "Death is a temporary inconvenience for those with true power. And today, I will erase your bloodline from existence." Goku didn't hesitate. He lunged forward, his fist blazing with golden energy as he transformed into a Super Saiyan. The ground exploded beneath him as he closed the distance, delivering a devastating punch aimed at Frieza's jaw. But Frieza vanished in a blur, reappearing behind Goku with a crushing kick to his spine. Goku grunted, skidding across the dirt before flipping midair to retaliate with a Kamehameha wave. The blue energy surged forward, but Frieza flicked his wrist, dispersing it effortlessly. "Pathetic," he sneered. "Is this all the mighty Son Goku can muster?" Gohan roared, his own golden aura erupting as he charged, his movements a blur of fury. He struck with precision, his fists a storm of blows aimed at Frieza's vital points. Each punch carried the weight of years of training, but Frieza dodged or blocked every strike with infuriating ease. "You're stronger than your father," Frieza taunted, catching Gohan's wrist mid-swing. But still not enough. With a brutal twist, he snapped Gohan's arm, eliciting a scream of agony before slamming him into the ground with enough force to crater the earth. Goku's heart pounded. This wasn't just a fight, it was a slaughter. Frieza had returned with power beyond anything they'd faced before. He had to push further. Screaming, Goku's hair spiked higher, his aura flaring with red and blue energy as he tapped into Ultra Instinct. Time seemed to slow as he moved, his body reacting without thought. He appeared before Frieza in an instant, his elbow driving into the tyrant's stomach with enough force to make him cough blood. Frieza's eyes widened in shock before Goku followed up with a spinning kick to his temple, sending him crashing through a mountainside. But Frieza wasn't done. He emerged from the rubble, his body morphing, his muscles expanding grotesquely as he entered a new form, one they'd never seen. "You forced my hand," he growled, his voice deeper, more monstrous. His tail lashed out, wrapping around Goku's throat and lifting him off the ground. Goku gasped, clawing at the constricting appendage as Frieza's free hand glowed with a sphere of black energy. "Goodbye, monkey." Gohan, despite his broken arm, forced himself up, his aura flickering wildly. "Let him go!" he screamed, unleashing a full-powered Masenko. The blast struck Frieza's side, forcing him to drop Goku, who collapsed, coughing. Frieza turned his wrath toward Gohan, his movements too fast to track. One moment he was yards away, the next his fist was buried in Gohan's chest. Blood sprayed as Frieza ripped his hand free, holding Gohan's still beating heart before crushing it in his palm. Goku's scream of anguish echoed across the mountains as his son's lifeless body crumpled to the ground. Frieza wiped his hand dismissively. "One down. Now for the rest of your family." Goku's vision blurred with tears and rage. Chi-Chi was pregnant with their second child, and Frieza would slaughter them too if he didn't stop him here. But how? Even Ultra Instinct hadn't been enough. As Frieza advanced, a cold realization settled in Goku's heart: this might be the end. But he wouldn't go down without a fight. Gathering every ounce of his remaining strength, he prepared for one final, desperate assault. The fate of his bloodline rested on this moment. The air was thick with the scent of burning earth as Goku stood over the lifeless body of his son, Gohan. His fists trembled, not from exhaustion, but from a rage he had never known. The once vibrant battlefield was now a graveyard, littered with the remnants of their failed struggle against the mysterious invader, Zurith. The tyrant's laughter echoed across the wasteland, his crimson eyes gleaming with triumph. "Your lineage ends here, Kakarot," he sneered, wiping Gohan's blood from his clawed fingers. "Your wife, your unborn child, none will escape my judgment." Goku's vision blurred as memories of Chi-Chi's final moments flashed before him, her desperate plea for him to protect their family, the way her voice had cracked as Zurith's energy blade pierced her abdomen, ensuring their unborn son, Goten, would never take his first breath. A primal scream tore from Goku's throat, his aura erupting in a storm of golden and crimson energy. The ground beneath him shattered as he launched himself at Zurith, fists blazing with the last vestiges of his Super Saiyan God power. Zurith barely flinched, catching Goku's punch with a single hand. "Pathetic," he spat before driving his knee into Goku's gut, sending him crashing through a mountain ridge. Rocks rained down as Goku struggled to rise, coughing up blood. He had never faced an opponent who could so effortlessly dismantle him. Just as Zurith prepared to deliver the final blow, a sudden blast of energy forced him back. Vegeta landed beside Goku, his own aura flickering between blue and a strange, unstable violet. "You're not dying today, Kakarot," Vegeta growled, though his voice lacked its usual arrogance. His eyes flickered to Gohan's body, his jaw tightening. "Not until we bury this filth." Zurith chuckled, flexing his fingers. "The prince of all Saiyans. How quaint. Tell me, Vegeta, how does it feel to stand beside the man who doomed your race twice over?" Vegeta's glare darkened, but before he could retort, Piccolo descended from the sky, his arms crossed. "Enough talk," the Namekian snapped. "We need to work together, or we're all dead." The trio lunged at Zurith in unison, their attacks a blur of coordinated fury. Goku feinted left, drawing Zurith's guard, while Vegeta unleashed a barrage of Gallic gun blasts from above. Piccolo, seizing the opening, extended his arms like whips, wrapping them around Zurith's legs and yanking him off balance. For a moment, it seemed they had the upper hand, until Zurith's body dissolved into shadows, reappearing behind Piccolo. His hand shot through the Namekian's chest, fingers curling around his still beating heart. "Predictable," Zurith sighed before crushing it. Piccolo gasped, collapsing as his regeneration struggled to keep up. Goku and Vegeta roared in unison, their combined Kamehameha and final flash engulfing Zurith in a cataclysmic explosion. The shockwave leveled what remained of the landscape, leaving a smoldering crater in its wake. But as the smoke cleared, Zurith emerged unscathed, his skin shimmering with an eerie, obsidian sheen. "You still don't understand," he mused, cracking his neck. "I am not just your enemy, I am the void that consumes all hope." With a flick of his wrist, dark tendrils erupted from the ground, ensnaring Vegeta and dragging him underground. Goku barely dodged, only for Zurith to teleport directly in front of him, driving his fist into Goku's sternum with enough force to crack the earth beneath them. As Goku lay broken, his vision fading, a sudden surge of energy pulsed through the battlefield. A figure clad in green and white descended, his staff gleaming under the dying sun. "You've done enough, Zurith," Whis intoned, his usual playful demeanor replaced by icy calm. "The oracle fish foresaw your treachery. The gods will not stand idle." Zurith's grin faltered for the first time. "Whis. So, the angels finally interfere." He clenched his fists, weighing his options, before vanishing in a swirl of darkness, but not without a final, chilling promise. "This isn't over. The next time we meet, not even the gods will save you." Silence fell over the wasteland. Whis sighed, turning to the battered warriors. "You must recover. Zurith is not just a foe, he is a living paradox, a being who feeds on the erasure of timelines. And if he succeeds here, your entire universe will be unwritten." Goku forced himself to his knees, his body screaming in protest. "Then we train," he rasped, his voice raw. "We get stronger. And we make sure no one else dies because of me." Vegeta, clawing his way out of the earth, spat blood but nodded. "TCH. About time you took this seriously." As the survivors gathered, the true scale of their battle became clear. Zurith wasn't just a threat, he was the end of everything. And if they failed now, there would be no second chances. The air hung heavy over Capsule Corp, the weight of loss pressing down on Goku's shoulders like a mountain. Bulma's lab was eerily silent, the usual hum of machines replaced by the quiet sobs of Chi-Chi, who clutched the torn remnants of Gohan's gi. Piccolo stood in the corner, his fists clenched so tight his nails drew blood. The unthinkable had happened, Gohan was dead, and the future of the Saiyan bloodline teetered on the brink of extinction. Worse still, the enemy responsible, a shadowy figure known only as Zurith, had vanished without a trace, leaving only destruction in his wake. Vegeta stormed into the room, his scowl deeper than usual. "We're wasting time," he growled. "Zurith isn't just strong, he's playing with us. He could have wiped us all out, but he didn't." "Why?" Piccolo's eyes narrowed. "He's toying with us. Like a predator savoring its prey." Bulma's fingers flew across her keyboard, pulling up fragmented data. "I've tracked residual energy signatures, he's not from this universe. He's a dimensional traveler, harvesting power from fallen warriors." Goku's fists trembled. "Then we stop him before he takes anyone else." The group mobilized, racing toward the last known energy spike, a desolate wasteland where the earth itself seemed to bleed. As they touched down, the ground cracked beneath them, and Zurith materialized from the shadows, his grin dripping with malice. "Ah, the grieving father arrives," he taunted, twirling Gohan's bloodstained cap between his fingers. Goku's aura erupted, his scream shaking the heavens as he lunged. Their fists collided, shock waves ripping through the landscape, but Zurith didn't flinch. He countered with a brutal knee to Goku's gut, sending him skidding across the ground. Vegeta and Piccolo joined the assault, their combined ki blasts lighting up the sky. Zurith merely raised a hand, absorbing the energy like it was nothing. Pathetic, he sneered, before unleashing a torrent of stolen power. Gohan's own Kamehameha, twisted and amplified. The blast sent them flying, their bodies slamming into jagged rock formations. Chi-Chi's scream echoed as she watched, helpless. Then, the twist, just as Zurith prepared to deliver the killing blow, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. "You forgot about me." It was Future Trunks, his sword gleaming as he sliced through Zurith's arm, severing it clean. The tyrant howled, his smug facade cracking for the first time. "Impossible." Trunks smirked. "Turns out, stealing power has a downside, it makes you predictable." Goku, battered but unbroken, seized the moment. "Now, Vegeta." The two scions clasped hands, their auras merging in a blinding nova of light. Fusion. The resulting warrior, Gogeta, stood before Zurith, his presence radiating untold power. The battle reignited, Gogeta moving faster than thought, his punches landing with seismic force. Zurith, now desperate, unleashed every stolen technique, final flash, special beam cannon, even a corrupted spirit bomb. But Gogeta weaved through them all, his final Kamehameha striking true. Yet, as the smoke cleared, Zurith rose again, his body reforming from the shadows. "Fools," he rasped. "I am eternal." The revelation hit like a dagger. He wasn't just stealing power, he was a fusion of every warrior he'd ever killed, their souls trapped within him. Gogeta's confidence wavered. "How do you kill someone who's already dead?" The answer came from an unexpected source, Piccolo. "We need to sever his connection to the stolen energy," he said, his voice grim. "And there's only one way." He turned to Chi-Chi, his eyes filled with sorrow. "The Dragon Balls. We wish to free the trapped souls." Bulma's hands shook as she input the command, but the cost was clear. Piccolo would have to sacrifice himself to power the ritual. As the sky darkened and Shenrong's roar shook the earth, Zurith's form began to unravel, his stolen power ripping away. "No!" he shrieked, his body dissolving into screaming wisps of energy. Gogeta delivered the final blow, a punch so potent it shattered the very air. Zurith was gone, the stolen souls at peace. But victory came at a price. Piccolo collapsed, his life force spent. Goku cradled his oldest friend, tears streaming down his face. "Why?" Piccolo smiled weakly. "Because some things are worth dying for." As his body turned to stone, the survivors stood in silence, the weight of their losses crushing. The battle was won, but the war had just begun. And in the shadows, a new threat stirred, one born from the void Zurith left behind. The battlefield was a wasteland of shattered rock and smoldering craters, the air thick with the scent of burning energy. Goku stood panting, blood dripping from a gash on his forehead, his gi torn and singed. Across from him, the monstrous figure of Moro loomed, his jagged teeth bared in a grin as he flexed his clawed fingers. "You're running out of time, Son Goku," Moro taunted, his voice dripping with malice. "Your family is gone. Your son is dead. And soon, you will join them." Goku's fists trembled with rage, but he forced himself to steady his breathing. He couldn't afford to lose focus now. Behind him, Vegeta staggered to his feet, his own injuries severe but his pride refusing to let him stay down. "Stop wasting time, Kakarot," Vegeta growled. "We end this now." With a shared nod, they lunged forward in unison. Goku blurred into Ultra Instinct, his movements flowing like water as he dodged Moro's crushing strikes, countering with a devastating elbow to the demon's ribs. Moro snarled and retaliated with a blast of dark energy, but Vegeta intercepted it, his Force Spirit Fist technique absorbing and redirecting the attack. The ground quaked as their combined assault forced Moro back, cracked spider webbing beneath his feet. But Moro wasn't done. With a roar, he unleashed a wave of energy that sent both scions skidding backward. Goku gritted his teeth. Moro was adapting, growing stronger with every exchange. They needed a new strategy. "Vegeta, distract him," Goku shouted, channeling his remaining energy into his palms. A brilliant blue aura erupted around him as he prepared a full-power Kamehameha. Vegeta smirked and vanished, reappearing above Moro in a flurry of punches. Moro blocked each strike, but Vegeta's relentless assault kept him occupied. Then, in a flash, Goku unleashed the Kamehameha, the beam roaring toward Moro like a tidal wave. Moro's eyes widened, he barely had time to raise his arms before the blast engulfed him, the explosion lighting up the sky. The smoke cleared, and for a moment, Goku dared to hope. But then Moro emerged, his body charred but his grin wider than ever. Is that all? He mocked, his form twisting as his body regenerated. Goku's heart sank, they were running out of options. Just then, a familiar presence flickered at the edge of Goku's senses. A voice echoed in his mind, Whis. Goku, remember what I taught you. Ultra Instinct isn't just about dodging. It's about becoming one with the universe itself. Goku closed his eyes, letting the words sink in. When he opened them again, his pupils gleamed silver. His aura flared, not just around him, but through him, his very essence harmonizing with the battlefield. Moro hesitated, sensing the shift. With a speed that defied comprehension, Goku appeared before Moro, his fist slamming into the demon's gut with such force that the shockwave split the earth. Moro coughed blood, his body buckling. But Goku wasn't done. He twisted midair, his leg arcing in a brutal axe kick that sent Moro crashing into the ground. Vegeta seized the moment, charging forward with a final flash so concentrated it burned white-hot. Moro barely had time to scream before the blast consumed him, the energy tearing through his flesh. As the dust settled, Goku and Vegeta stood side by side, their chests heaving. The silence was deafening. Then, a guttural laugh. Moro's shattered form twitched, his body knitting itself back together with terrifying speed. You still don't understand, he rasped. I am inevitable. Goku clenched his fists. They had pushed themselves to their limits, but it wasn't enough. And yet, he refused to accept defeat. Not when so much was at stake. Then we go beyond, he said, locking eyes with Vegeta. A silent understanding passed between them. If they were going to die, they'd do it fighting. Together, they charged, their battle cries echoing across the ruined landscape as the final clash began. The air crackled with energy as Goku and Vegeta stood side by side, their bodies battered but spirits unbroken. The battlefield was a wasteland of shattered earth and smoldering craters, the sky above swirling with dark clouds. Their enemy, the monstrous entity known as Zurith, loomed before them, his crimson eyes burning with malice. You fools still stand? Zurith sneered, his voice like grinding stone. Your family is gone, your hope extinguished. Why fight? Goku clenched his fists, his mind flashing to Gohan's lifeless body, to the unborn child he and Chi-Chi would never meet. Pain twisted his heart, but it only fueled his resolve. Because that's what Scions do, he growled, his aura exploding into a blinding inferno of blue and gold. Vegeta smirked, his own power surging. You talk too much. In an instant, they lunged, their movements a blur of fists and energy. Goku struck first, a devastating punch to Zurith's gut that sent shockwaves rippling through the air. The monster staggered, but retaliated with a backhand that sent Goku skidding across the ground. Vegeta seized the opening, driving his knee into Zurith's jaw, then spinning into a crushing elbow. But Zurith caught his arm, twisting it with a sickening snap. Vegeta roared in agony, yet his free hand glowed with a point-blank Gallic gun. The explosion engulfed them both, the force hurling Vegeta back as Zurith emerged, his flesh regenerating instantly. Goku was already back in the fray, his instant transmission placing him inches from Zurith's face. Came hame, he began, but Zurith's clawed hand clamped around his throat, cutting off the attack. Pathetic, Zurith spat, slamming Goku into the earth. Stars danced in Goku's vision, but he refused to yield. His fingers dug into Zurith's wrist, and with a desperate surge, he unleashed a point-blank ki blast. The explosion tore them apart, leaving Goku gasping on the ground. Vegeta staggered to his feet, his broken arm hanging uselessly. Blood trickled from his lips, but his eyes burned with defiance. Kakarot, he rasped. We're running out of time. Goku nodded, pushing himself up. They had one last gambit. As Zurith advanced, his body knitting itself back together, Goku and Vegeta clasped hands. Their auras merged, swirling into a tempest of power. Zurith paused, sensing the shift. What is this? He demanded. The answer came in a deafening roar as the two Scions unleashed the fusion dance, their bodies twisting into a single, unstoppable force. Light consumed them, and when it faded, Gogeta stood in their place, his presence radiating overwhelming might. Zurith's confidence wavered. Impossible. He snarled. Gogeta smirked, cracking his knuckles. Let's finish this. The final battle was a spectacle of speed and destruction. Gogeta moved like lightning, his punches landing with the force of supernovas. Zurith fought back desperately, but for every blow he landed, Gogeta returned 10. The ground quaked as they clashed, each impact sending shockwaves across the planet. Gogeta flipped over Zurith's energy wave, landing behind him with a spinning kick that shattered the monster's spine. Zurith howled, his body struggling to regenerate, but Gogeta didn't give him the chance. He raised his hands, gathering every ounce of power. Big bang! Kamehameha! The beam lanced forward, a swirling vortex of annihilation. Zurith screamed as it consumed him, his body disintegrating atom by atom. Silence fell. The dust settled, and Gogeta split back into Goku and Vegeta, both collapsing to their knees. The sky cleared, the first rays of sunlight breaking through. It was over. The aftermath was bittersweet. The universe was safe, but the cost had been unbearable. Goku knelt beside Gohan's body, his tears falling onto his son's still face. Vegeta placed a hand on his shoulder, uncharacteristically gentle. He died a warrior's death, Vegeta muttered. Goku nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. Yeah. He did. In the days that followed, the world mourned. But from the ashes rose a new resolve. The Z fighters vowed to honor the fallen by protecting the future Gohan had believed in. Goku, though heartbroken, found solace in knowing his son's spirit lived on in those he'd inspired. And Vegeta, for the first time, acknowledged the bond they shared, not as rivals, but as brothers in arms. The universe had changed. The balance of power had shifted, and the legacy of the Scions would never be the same. But as long as there were those willing to fight for what was right, hope would endure. And so, under a golden sunset, Goku looked to the horizon, his heart heavy but unbroken. The battle was over. The next chapter awaited.